for political indoctrination and also for media system. So we use this kind of term very, very strictly from the top to the bottom, all over this country. So that is why, or how the Chinese people, most of the Chinese people understand this problem. And as a historian of I studied the Military Chile of 1930s. I understand very well how Turkish national identity was formulated, constructed by the Atatürk historians in 1920s, 1930s, and how the Turkish history books were written in 1920s, 1930s by early 1940s and then changed. So there is also such kind of political thing in history teaching in Turkey. So what is history? What is the world? For historian, history is something that about the fact of the past. But for the world, for most other people's history, I think, is a kind of political thing that could be manipulated by different part of the political sides to gain something. So that is why it is so complicated to say that for the question you asked, in what terms, in what sense they will answer this question? As a diplomat, as a historian, or as just a common Chinese people who have nothing to do with Turkey or Turkish history or Turkish politics? This will be different. Sorry for giving this some kind of long, maybe unrelated answer to your question. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sayın Yılmaz, University. It's not a question but an addition, especially the question of gentlemen about the possible clash of interest between China and Turkey. Well, it doesn't seem that Turkey and China are going to get clashed because of the problems in Uyghur regions. As long as there is a high level of trade between China and Turkey, Turkey is not going to take the burden of just turning back to China because of the problems in Uyghur. Also, as we are closely following that China's One Belt One Road initiative is penetrating into Turkish politics slowly. And many projects are getting now done in Turkey is done just because of One Belt One Road projects. So that's why I don't see any kind of clash between Turkey and China, neither in short term nor in long term. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think this is not a question, it's a comment. I agree with you. Honestly speaking, I regard everyone here is my friend. My first time to attend an international conference in Turkey is 2008 in Ankara, which is also kind of political science and history international conference, which is very big, more than 100 participants. And it is a shock for me when I talk about how China and Turkey mutually perceive each other from history to today. I encountered a lot of angry speakers and questions only focusing on the so-called voter scan, all of these to scan problem. It is a shock for me because before 2008 I never done anything research to do about this. I have never been to the Xinjiang by myself. Right? So all of this it's a great shock. So I was taught a lesson during that process. It seems that there's a problem, which I don't know. I have been to Turkey for several times. I stayed in Turkey for more than half a year. No one asked me this question yet. No, I have friends in my dormitory with two Kurdish friends. One is from Diyarbakir, the other from Syria. And also my friends, all of them are science research. I'm a historian. They are mathematics and physics. So we go together, and among my neighbor, all of the Turkish people from Erzurum, any other place. But so for a very long period of time, I don't realize there's such a problem. Then, as I said, in 2008, the year I finished my PhD and started as a postdoc for 1 year to another department at PKU, it's a sociology department. And then 2009 is the year of the Urumqi incident. All of these things, I think, in the past 10 years, it's a short time actually. 10 years is a short time. But too many things happened, not only in the world politics, but also domestically in Turkey and inside Turkey, inside China. But as my friend Giray Fida is an expert on the Chinese language, literature, history, also could understand this. We have a very small group of scholars in either country to study each other. Very few who can speak Turkish and also do the history of Turkey or sociology or other social science departments. Very few, less than 3, less than 4. A country for 1.4 billion people. So conflict, what's the meaning of conflict? Every time we have the question seems to be weird to us. Is it from Urumqi to Istanbul is 4.5 hours. From Urumqi to Beijing also 4.5 hours. See? Not a lot of people travel to Xinjiang by the Hanzhou Chinese, not to say Turkey. There's exaggerated the number of visitors last year by the Turkish media maybe. There are 2 million Chinese tourists here in Istanbul every year. But no, less than 500,000. But this is the biggest number of travelers to Turkey. But most of them, 90% of them, are interested in flying the balloon in Cappadocia. They don't go to Izmir, they don't go to Ankara. They fly to Istanbul, stay several days, and to Cappadocia, and then fly back to China. So that is seems to me, practically as scholars, we need to do more things to produce more reliable, honest research to each other, to share our information, to share our understanding. Although the problem or the question you have raised is a sensitive issue, not only to China, not only to the Chinese media, Chinese scholars, but also to the Turkish media, Turkish scholars, I would say, today. In this world, you see, I don't agree that there will be a conflict between Turkey and China in these areas, but also I would honestly speaking that in a atmosphere of new Cold War between the United States and China, especially in terms of today, it is in the field of economy. But what it will be tomorrow? We all know that although there are 2 parties in the United States, the elite of these 2 parties have a common understanding that China must be concerned. There's no difference in terms of this biggest issue. To considering what happened in the Middle East now, in the past they will ask a question about what will Russia care about, what Turkey care about, what the Saudi Arabia care about, Iran, what Iran will do. In the past, this is the question that we asked and answered normally in this way. But look at what the United States is doing here now. In Chinese, not only the politicians but those scholars will tell you that withdraw from here to the East Asia. Withdraw their forces presence, the United States will have to save more power to contain China. So in this sense, then we look at what the professor asked, the Turkey-Russian, Turkey-US relationship. So in this structure, the new structure, there are millions of reasons for Turkey and China to be closer. If we are pragmatic enough. So that is why I understand, I will say, that those sensitive disputes are well controlled because of this big structure. We don't want, in this bad time in history, we don't want the two country relationship be spoiled by any conflict or dispute. Turkey, look at this economy of today. Everyone can feel. Who can be an alternative? I don't mean that alternative to the United States. I mean, who can help you to develop? I don't mean China have Turkey. I mean, every country needs something. Maybe you need a market, maybe you need resources, maybe you need investment, maybe you need a market. But every country have a need. But this need could not be sustained or self-sustained by yourself. So you have to develop a certain kind of relationship. In the past 2 or 3 years, everyone asked me, is Turkey looking east? Is Turkey going to be join the Shanghai Treaty Organization? They were telling me, look, in the Turkish media, there are two generals who are disputing each other. Leave that NATO. Leave NATO. We will join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There are a lot of this kind of blah blah. Then the Chinese media will come to me and ask me whether it is true that Turkey will become part of our big organization, including other Czech-speaking countries, including Pakistan, including India, Iran,